Hello, and welcome back. I'm Aiden, your narrator for tonight. In our increasingly busy world, finding moments of peace and tranquility can sometimes seem elusive. But don't worry, here we find solace in the gentle embrace of calming narratives that whisk us away on serene journeys through words. Tonight, we're about to step into Paper Lanterns Over the Quiet Town, a story that unfolds in a small village where the night sky is lit by a cascade of softly glowing lanterns. This peaceful town, nestled between lush, rolling hills and whispering woods, invites us to witness a night filled with the kind of quiet magic that only occurs when community and tradition brilliantly intertwine. As the paper lanterns ascend, casting a warm, luminous glow, the townsfolk quietly gather to share stories of old, knitting together the threads of memory and dreams amidst the cool evening air. Before we embark on this serene voyage, I have a small question for our community to ponder. What is one cherished tradition from your own life that resonates with warmth and nostalgia? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. It's always heartwarming to hear what others hold dear in their hearts. If you're new here, or a returning listener who finds value and peace in these narratives, please take a moment to subscribe. By doing so, you'll ensure that you're always gently guided back to these tranquil tales that help you unwind and embrace the quietude of the night. Now let's take a moment to ease ourselves into relaxation. I invite you to find a comfortable spot, allowing your body to rest heavily into its support. Let's take a deep breath in, slowly filling the lungs, holding that soothing air for just a moment, and then gently releasing it. With each exhale, imagine letting go of any tension, guiding yourself into a calm and relaxed state. Breathe in serenity and breathe out the day's distractions. As you settle into this peaceful rhythm, let's prepare to journey together. Picture yourself in a cozy nook, perhaps wrapped in a plush blanket, while a soft glow illuminates the pages of the story to come. The world outside gently fades away, leaving just you and the narrative, ready to transport us to a quiet town under a sky brightened by paper lanterns. With that comfortable thought, let's drift into the beginning of our story, where the calm night and the gentle rise of ballooning lights beckon us onward. In the quiet town, perched on the edge of a whispering river, the evening light descended with the grace of a painter's brush, gilding the rooftops in tender hues of amber. Breezes swirled lazily through alleyways, carrying the faint scent of blooming jasmines that intermingled with the soft breath of the river. Aileen, with eyes like polished river stones, stood at the edge of the town square where ancient cobblestones lay, each one a piece in the puzzle of time. The market was winding down, its vibrant echoes replaced with the gentle murmur of dusk. Aileen watched as vendors packed their wares with care, their movements slow like the unfurling of a fern. The air, thick with the warmth of the setting sun, wrapped her in its embrace like a soft woolen blanket, as if whispering secrets of a day well spent. She could feel the serene anticipation of nightfall settling within her, a gentle hand coaxing her forward into the unfolding evening. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows, the first of the paper lanterns blinked into life, a strawberry blush against the deepening blue. Each lantern, crafted with delicate hands, seemed to have its own heart, glowing softly beneath the twilight. They were like hopeful stars, tethered to earth but longing for the sky. Aileen, inspired by their gentle persistence, found her own steps lightening, her pace synchronizing with the unhurried rhythm of the town. Aileen meandered along the path leading to the riverbank, where willow trees dipped their trailing fingers into water that mirrored the sky. The gentle lapping of the river was a lullaby in itself, the sound of liquid silver caressing the banks with a patience only nature possesses. There, she found a wooden swing, kissed by moss and time. As she settled onto its welcoming seat, the swing's gentle back and forth mirrored the dance of the lanterns above. Here, in this sweet space between day and night, Aileen felt the layers of the day peel away. Her spirit softened, welcoming the slow embrace of evening calm. With the paper lanterns beginning to float, their glow spreading like whispered dreams, she realized there was nowhere else she needed to be but here, cradled by the quiet town that knew the value of silence and the beauty of simplicity. The languid evening persisted, cradling each whisper of night with tender care. The air was perfume, the fragrant hush of jasmine, vines that climbed over cottage fences and danced in the light evening breeze. Aileen allowed herself to sink further into the melody of the moment, the rustle of leaves like a gentle symphony composed just for her. Each breath she took was a gift, a fragrant reminder of life's simple pleasures. Aileen's thoughts drifted back to childhood, memories woven with the same threads of evening light she now basked in. She recalled the joyous pursuit of fireflies in open fields, their bioluminescent flickering a reflection of tonight's lanterns, each a tiny beacon of joy. How she and her friends would race under the old oak tree, their laughter carried away by the wind's playful fingers, like echoes trapped forever in time. As Aileen leaned against the sturdy trunk of an ancient willow by the river, she felt history hum beneath her fingertips. The tree had witnessed countless sunrises and farewells, absorbing stories in its bark that only the river might understand. It was this eternal presence, claimed by neither past nor future, that grounded her deeply in this moment, as if she too had roots entwined in the earth. From her vantage, Aileen could see the paper lanterns bobbing gently along the street, their light brushing the town with strokes of warmth that reached into the crevices of her heart. In this tranquil tableau, she felt her worries dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Each flicker of a lantern was a reminder of light beyond the present shadows, each glow a promise that life moved with grace even in stillness. She stayed there, cradled by nature's lullaby and the jasmine's calming breath, letting the night embrace her like an old friend reunited. Time slipped away, more measured by the soft pulsation of the lanterns than by any ticking clock. Aileen drifted between dreams and wakefulness, the line between them softer than a feather, until the town hushed into the deep comfort of night's embrace. The soft light of the evening wove through the trees like silken threads, each glinting enough to guide Aileen's way towards the little workshop nestled by the river's edge. This cherished place, owned by the lantern maker, the gentle Mr. Eldon, was veiled in an aura of timelessness, as though touched by the grace of eternity. The windows glowed softly, emitting a warm, welcoming light that danced on the water outside, inviting Aileen closer. Mr. Eldon, with hair as snowy as the peaks beyond town, and eyes that saw into the heart of things, was bent over his workbench. He lifted each delicate paper lantern with the care and reverence of an artisan dedicated to his craft. Aileen watched him for some time, a spellbinding dance of hands and light. The lanterns blossomed beneath his fingers, each one imbued with whispers of dreams and gentle hopes. As if sensing her presence, Mr. Eldon looked up and welcomed her with a smile that carried years of wisdom. They spoke quietly, their conversation woven into the fabric of the evening, a reflection of the lantern's own silent glow. Aileen cherished these evenings spent in the lantern maker's company, where words were sometimes not needed, and silence wrapped around them like an old, familiar song. He handed her a new lantern, its paper a soft blush, delicate patterns traced lovingly upon its surface. She took it, feeling the weightlessness in her palms, fragile yet full of potential. Each lantern, he said, carried with it wishes whispered to the night, dreams folded into their creases, waiting for the stars to take notice. Aileen felt the heaviness of her own wishes, ready to unfurl, buoyed by the hardy structure built by kind hands. Outside, the sky wore a cloak of navy velvet, adorned with the first sparks of starlight. Aileen carried her lantern back towards the river, her steps intentionally slow, savoring the gentle motion of twilight. The lantern's glow enfolded her in its gentle light, and she watched it join the others as they drifted softly towards the heart of the town. Each lantern was a silent prayer, a small piece of light slowly, persistently embracing the night. Her heart full of gratitude and quiet joy, Aileen lingered near the river's edge. She watched as the last traces of daylight dissolved into the embrace of the lanterns. They danced above the water, sending ripples of warm glow across the surface, casting the whole town in an ethereal embrace until it seemed as though the entire world was wrapped in their gentle luminescence, breathing softly with the rhythm of the universe. With hearts now alight, the lanterns led their gentle parade through the vein-like streets of the town. Aileen, accompanied by the glow of her own lantern, felt the gentle pull of their light as if invited on a moonlit promenade. She moved with the lanterns, each step meriting its own moment of reflection, the world around her transformed by this soft flurry of ethereal illuminations. The town's perspective shimmered in this fathomless light, colors and shadows dancing with each sway of the lantern's journey. Walls, once merely stone and brick, became canvases daubed with subtle hues of dreams painted by the lantern's strokes. It was as though time softened its relentless pace, granting each breath a lingering presence amid the softened street geometry. Children scurried beside her, their faces lifted to the light's tender embrace, eyes wide with imagination as they twirled through the warmth of paper and flame. Aileen remembered her own childhood curiosity, that unquenchable thirst for wonder, curated here beneath these same twinkling beacons. Lanterns were dreams both young and old, manifest wishes sailing on the autumn air. She allowed herself the luxury of losing track, stepping where the lantern's dance took her, while shadows curled gracefully at her feet. The air was rich with the earthy fragrance of fallen leaves, dry whispers spiraling onto the worn pathways. Her senses gathered each note of this nocturnal symphony, the cooling breeze like a gentle orchestra accompanying the lantern's silent song. And as the trail of light drew nearer to the heart of the town, she glimpsed her fellow townsfolk gathered in clusters, their faces softened and serene, unified in quiet appreciation. There was no need for voices, no clamor of discussions. Simply being there, enveloped by the glow, felt like communion itself. With each passing moment, Aileen surrendered to this growing quietude, basked in its palpably soothing embrace, and like the paper lanterns, she too buoyed by the subtle currents of an unspoken harmony, carried along by the voyage of this gentle light. The procession wove itself closer to the river, where gentle breezes carried with them the grace of softly lapping water murmuring against the banks. Here, the lanterns began their graceful dance, bobbing slightly with the breeze, reflections twinkling upon the river's obsidian surface like constellations on a soft night. Aileen found a comfortable spot on a time-honored rock, smoothed by years of elemental companionship, and lowered herself to listen to the tales the water might tell. Each lantern gliding by was an unwritten story, a small narrative floating gently atop the river, pages of life transcribed in light and buoyancy. Aileen watched their passage, each aware of its own silent purpose, like ships at sea sailing for far horizons, carrying the collective whispers of dreams. The river received them tenderly, cradling their journey towards a meeting with the horizon's edge. Aileen's mind drifted like the current, collecting thoughts as grains of sand accumulate in riverbeds. She mused over the arc of time that had brought her here, weaving stories of kin and community, stories layered like sediment in her own heart. Memories unfolded gently in her mind's eye, laughter shared beneath this very sky, love and friendship woven here. Lanterns passed, guiding her footsteps even now. The presence of the river was a tapestry of countless yesterdays, settled within the majestic halls of the past. Soft echoes of laughter and wistful whispers rippled on, every splash and susurration its own verse in nature's lullaby. Aileen allowed herself to float along this tide of memory, each languid ripple shaping her thoughts, each glimmer of lantern light guiding her in the alchemy of reflecting. The evening unfurled its gentle length thought by thought, unraveling into night's darker velvet folds. Draped in the river's embrace, Aileen listened to the timeless melody wrapped in the swish of water and the rustle of the lantern's airy flight above, as if every lesson she needed was carried along beside her. She dwelt on the wistful yet abiding lull of light and liquid, content simply to be soothed by the ancient dialogue between night and flowing water. As the lanterns danced further along the water, Aileen found her gaze drawn upwards to the celestial dome sprawling above. Stars began to pry open the night's cloak with their soft glimmers, like pinpricks of light upon a woven tapestry. A sky robed in quiet majesty, its luminescence a seamless extension of the earthbound lanterns. A tranquil harmony twinkled between sky and river, binding them across distances both vast and intimate. Aileen rose from her riverside resting place, drawn onwards by a tug of curiosity, both invigorating and gentle, much like the subtle breeze wrapping around her shoulders. She began her solo journey along the riverbank, stepping carefully upon the soft, silt-laden earth, where reeds swayed in rhythm with river currents and whispered tales of the unseen. Every star above seemed to guide her passage, a line of whispered guidance that walked alongside, swathing her path in a feeling of welcome familiarity. Her footfalls cushioned by the earth's tranquil embrace, she explored further, each moment bringing a delightful shiver of discovery as her surroundings unfurled softly in the night's embrace. As Aileen wandered on, her senses honed by the night's calm, she discovered treasures untold. A feathered ripple across the river's face, caught in the lantern's compassionate glow. The ineffable thickness of night's air, woven with the fragrance of dew-kissed herbs. Her stride slowed, pausing to appreciate small miracles existing in cherished secrecy. With every step Aileen took, she surrendered herself to this gentle unknown, granting her heart permission to rest lightly upon the river's edge. This was not a place to rush, but a sacred pause in the momentum of each day. Her presence was attuned to the harmony that danced between land and sky, between river and star, inviting all to partake of its hushed simplicity. As darkness deepened into a comforting idea beyond time, Aileen absorbed the boundless quiet that soothed and caressed the lines of her soul. The lanterns, now scattered far and wide along the river's length, reassured her with their light, unwavering symbols of unity and shared dreams, spoken softly in the shared language of night. Aileen found herself in a softened world, where time seemed to stretch and yawn, a luxurious sprawl that invited all to partake in its gentle repose. Here, amongst the quilt of night, she discerned the sweet tempo of her own breath, mingling with the whispers of the river, matching the rhythm of heartbeats rippling from the earth itself. Her senses expanded, inviting in the calm, textured world that cradled her. The stones underfoot were cooled by the kiss of evening, their dense solidity anchoring her presence in this sacred space. Aileen's feet relished the stability beneath, the assured silhouette of each stone interconnected like the steady heartbeat of the land. Arranged by the symphony of ages, their shapes hinted at stories sculpted long ago by nature's patient hands. Aileen's journey took her beneath the arms of low-hanging branches, whispering in gentle choruses, foliage murmuring with voices tendered by droplets of dew or the soft steps of nighttime creatures. Every leaf shimmered with its own luminescence, companionship offered from tree to lantern to star, crafting patterns as interwoven as the fabric of dreams themselves. Each breath Aileen took deepened her bond with the tree-lined riverbank and the continuance of this nocturnal pilgrimage. She paused often, suspending time with simple joys, the iridescent rustling of a passing breeze through hair, the feathered touch of grasses against fingers. Her senses played softly upon the notes of nature, forming a melody that sang to both earth and air. Her spirit melded with this measured realm, each breath weaving a quiet tapestry of night. Yet here, within the textural embrace of the physical world, she held space too for emotions stirred in shadow, allowing fears to dissolve gently at their own pace within the slow cadence of evening darkness. Here, alone yet tenderly connected, Aileen found the gift of patience woven effortlessly into the thread of night itself. Overhead, the delicate constellations wove their luminous tapestry, delicate filaments flitting about on the night's velvet loom. Each star contributed a note to the celestial symphony, its story adrift, bridging the gap between distant dreams and present thoughts. Tilted her head upwards, her gaze catching the stars as they gathered around the North Star, a beacon for travelers and dreamers alike. These celestial lanterns spoke a language of light that needed no translation, an unspoken promise, aglow within the night. In the vast theatre of sky above, they shimmered softly, reminding her of the infinite ways in which the universe cradled her existence. Aileen felt her heart expand, enfolded within the velvet silence, her solitude shared by stars that witnessed everything without judgment. Closer to Earth, the paper lanterns mirrored the cosmic display, their reflections rippling over the river's surface as if ink spread by a gentle brushstroke from a novelist's hand. Aileen stood upon the soft bank, her reflection wreathed in the warm, dulcet glow cast by the lit spheres that wafted enchantingly downstream. As her shadow drew back upon the water, she knew mingling her reflection with theirs was to be in union with time itself. While a quiet joy bubbled within her, Aileen acknowledged the river's current, an unwavering flow that whispered of an onward journey, gently nudging the lantern fleet forward. She imagined each paper-lit vessel as a tangible embodiment of hope, delicate enough to flutter but anchored in longing, carrying their delicate sparks onto future landscapes still unknown. In this sanctuary of subtle light and sound, Aileen paused to reflect on her own place within it. Her presence within the night was like an echo of lantern light, a single bright note joined within a greater harmony. Every star above the dome of night, every lantern upon the river, granted her the grace of inclusion, urging her towards the acceptance of infinite possibility. With each continued breath, Aileen found contentment, knowing her dreams too mingled within this canopy of light. She was a woman of earth and spirit, wandering softly beneath the guardianship of stars, each one singing a lullaby to her heart, granting her the permission to linger within her ascent into night's most serene, untrammeled depths. The town beyond the river's curve slipped further into the gentle embrace of night, each house and bough cloaked in silvery threads of moonlight. Aileen felt the subtle weave of the night drawing its delicate threads around her, enveloping all in quiet solitude, establishing bonds between spirit and earth. In this chrysalis of calm, she allowed the world to dissolve softly, each fragment a whisper upon the pages of dreams. She wandered further from the riverbank, finding herself following a path that dipped and ascended lazily across the familiar terrain. Each step was an invitation to deeper serenity, her heart lulled in union with nature's pulse, a collective sigh released by earth and sky. Aileen marveled at how the landscape unfolded, revealing terrain rendered tender in muted shades of serenity. Footsteps muffled in this hushed cocoon, she arrived at the edge of a clearing, where tall grasses caught both moonlight and starlight in a gentle web. These luminescent blades bowed their heads like night's own sentinels, swaying softly as if enchanted by some lingering lullaby. The silhouette of stately trees painted a dappled pattern of shadows within her tranquil canvas. In the stillness of this hidden meadow, Aileen laid herself upon the cool suppleness of grass, open to the sky that enfolded her with its soft promise of rest. Each breath she drew harmonized with nature's gentle song, her body attuned to the world's tender embrace, and the gratitude surging from the heart of the earth itself. The simplicity of lying in communion with the night restored a sense of expansive peace. She felt the mothering touch of the cosmos nurturing her, an ethereal blanket of stars tucking fragile dreams softly into place. Her thoughts drifted between realms of night and wishes wrought by lanterns, each pulsing rhythmic like a planetary heartbeat. The town was silent now, absorbed in its own slumbered pulse, the river's caress quieting even the soft ripple of shadows. Aileen surrendered herself completely, floating in reverence for the unfurling tapestry of darkness, an eternal cradle promising solace. Her mind stilled, embraced within night's soothing insistence, and she recognized her place within this unspoken narrative. At peace, she finally closed her eyes, the world of stars and lanterns guiding her dreams, gentling awareness into tender remembrance. The night stretched its protective wings over the town, and sleepy houses exhaled softly beneath the watchful gaze of the moon. A gentle hush fell, as though the universe itself was sighing contentedly, wrapping everything in its soft embrace. Aileen lay beneath the gracious night sky, her thoughts lulled into a quiet ripple like the river's placid flow, losing themselves in a world beyond the borders of wakefulness. Listening closely, she heard the tranquil lullaby sung by the night creatures, the subtle chirping of crickets harmonizing with the distant rustle of leaves. Their cadence was a sonorous chant, echoing the steady rhythm of nature's heart, combining with the whispers of the river, sustaining the calming thrall of an ancient hymn. Aileen felt this song flowing gently within her, its quiet elegance seeping into her dreams. The lanterns, now scattered downstream, floated in clusters of whispered light, their gentle flame casting long-time shadows of whispered hopes upon the water's surface. Aileen pictured them twinkling like her imagined vessels, carrying dreams to places where tomorrow awaited with welcoming arms. The thought gave her peace, wrapping her soul with the certainty of dreams tended kindly in the lap of night. As Aileen lay there, soft darkness folded around her like a warm quilt, her breathing steadied to a deeper rhythm. She recalled the sweetness of lanterns that flew gentle voyages upon the river, connecting earthbound heartbeats to those of the sky. With a tender smile, she let her heart linger on this connection, wrapping the threads of the day into a softly closing lullaby. Gradually, her senses eased, drawn towards the serene embrace of dream water. She was conscious only of being cocooned securely by the night, a soft cradle humming with the land's own gentle breath, stars like guardians watching over ethereal journeys. She gave herself over to the drift, trusting in the goodness and stillness of the unfolding moment. In this nest of silence and light, there was nothing left for Aileen to do but open herself to tranquility's sweet embrace. And so she rested, softly transcending the bridge between waking thought and the realms of dreams, her heartbeat whispering the language of the river and the stars, leaving her nestled in peace until the first gentle caress of dawn sang a new lullaby.